Hello everyone and welcome back to another string review and playtest. Today the string on trial is Head Lynx Tour. Now as you can see from that packaging it says Head Experimental Tour, but I believe when this string is finally released it will be called Head Lynx Tour. The other bit of housekeeping at the beginning, the reason why it's been so long since we've had a string review is that I've also changed rackets. So I am no longer using the Aero Pro Drive 2013 model. I am now using the Technofiber TF40 305, and I may be switching to the 315, so we'd have to do another little break before more videos. Inside the TF40, I've already played with strings like Hyper G, RPM Blast, Alu Power, just so I can kind of readjust myself to give you guys fair reviews. Also, with this set of string, I did not pay for it. A friend of mine who got some review copies actually just gave me one and said, hey, why don't you test this out and then you can use it for your reviews. And so thank you to my friend for doing that. I'm not going to disclose his name because maybe the head people will come after him. Unlikely, because we're still giving them some publicity here. So with this string, it's another polyester string, and its claim to fame, if you didn't know, is that I believe Dominic Thiem used this as a cross string when he won Indian Wells in 2019. One interesting note about this string is that it is made in Taiwan. So when we reviewed Head Hawk, I believe that string is made in Austria, and that's one of the reasons why the price tag is so much higher. This string is made in Taiwan. The vast majority of strings are manufactured in Taiwan or Germany, especially from some of like the lesser known brands. That's where almost all these strings are made. I believe they're pretty much all made at the same couple of factories, so it's just a question of, you know, what they're throwing into the machine to actually then pump out the string at the end. And what I'll tell you guys about this string is that it's fine. It's not special. It's not a string that you're going to go out of your way to try. And with all these strings, I ask myself, okay, so what player would this be best for? Like, who is this string designed for? And to be honest, I couldn't come up with an answer. I personally think this string, its best application will be to use it as a cross string for a textured main. So something like Luxilon Alu Power Rough, something like RPM Blast Rough. You know, there's tons of those sort of strings on the market to provide you with that ball bite. And then this string kind of tempers that out a little bit. It gives you a little bit of a better feel, something closer to a traditional polyester. Because my biggest complaint with this string is that there's just no bite on the ball. It's just a pretty generic feeling polyester. It reminds me a lot of Diablo Prism. So like the pop is there, the crispness is there, but it's just not that special. It's not enough for me to use in a full bed. And then it just doesn't have that bite on the ball that you're looking for with polyester strings. And what I can tell you is I do hitting sessions with a lot of people, and one guy, without even being told, after I switched the strings, and I went to tier 1 tour status, which I think we're going to be reviewing next. Without being prompted, without anything, he just came up to me and he goes, wow, your ball has like so much more bite. There's so much more action on the ball now. It's much harder for me to hit it back. And he was saying, oh, I really like that. You know, it's good practice. I mean, he's missing a lot more of them. And he then asked, he's like, well, did you change something? Are you swinging differently? Like, what's going on? And I'm just like, well, I actually did just change out the strings a couple days ago. And so that's not meant to be like a sharp criticism of this string. It just tells you that it doesn't have that bite. It doesn't have the spin potential. A lot like Ice Code and some of the newer polyesters that I've tried, it's really the longevity of these strings that's impressive. So once I put it in, it took a little bit of time to settle, and then it played well for a really long time. I mean, many, many hours. When it did finally break, a couple hours before it broke, that's when I felt the tension, the elasticity just completely fall off. But for a long time, it stayed in there and it played consistently. So that's definitely one positive of it. But again, it's just kind of another generic average polyester string that's a little bit softer. The response is pretty good, but it's not as good, not as pop pop friendly as say an Alu Power. So I think if I was ever to use this string, and maybe this is where its application is going to be, it needs to be a cross string for a more textured poly, so you get some of that bite, and then this string kind of settles it back into something closer to just, you know, like a smooth poly all the way throughout. So those are my thoughts on Head Lynx Tour. I can't comment on the value, but if it's being made in Taiwan, my guess is we're going to be looking at a $10 to $12 price range. I certainly wouldn't want to pay more for that. So again, if you're looking for a cross string for a textured poly, you could definitely give this one a shot, but I think in a full bed, it's just not really going to benefit any player. It's not going to benefit you more than what you currently have. So by no means is it a must try. It's a quality string. It's a polyester. It's like these newer polyesters that are coming out. Longevity is really good. I feel like tension stability is really good. But otherwise, there's just a lot of other strings on the market that are as good or better than this string that will probably suit your game a bit better. All right, so thank you for watching, and you'll hear from me again soon. Take care.